Hey, beautiful. Welcome to the Mindset with Mary podcast. If you're ready to manifest a life full of abundance, freedom, and happiness, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Mary Jo Rember, a life and mindset coach on a mission to help heart-led leaders build confidence and fulfill their soul assignments, all without sacrificing the things they love. Each week, I'll be here to share practical mindset tips, energetic tools, manifestation strategies, all that feel simple, sustainable, and true to who you are. If you're ready for the abundance to begin, grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's dive in. Hello. Today's episode, we're going to talk about how to stop wasting time overthinking and start making aligned decisions. I will be honest right now, I'm testing to see if this will go live on Instagram and go live on YouTube. I have no idea. It says it is. I don't know. Fingers crossed it is. But because I'm live, if it really did work, I'm feeling it in my body right now so much. I feel a little nervous, but bear with me because what I have to share with you today is absolutely going to be a life changer for you. Because here's the thing. I get it. Overthinking every decision, constantly second guessing yourself, wondering if you're wasting your time because maybe in the past you've made decisions that have led you astray. Maybe you found yourself following the path of a mentor and finding out that they weren't the person you thought they were and getting your heart crushed, or maybe the heartbreak over and over and over again, whether that be in business or in your career, whatever it may be, consistently questioning your values and your self-worth. Maybe you've caught yourself course correcting more than you've wanted to, and maybe it just feels overwhelming, never ending. And well, lucky for you, today I am here to share with you all the things that I've been through and how I've really started to turn this around. Because when you're living your life constantly in that decision fatigue, how can you actually move forward? How can you actually tune into the wisdom of the universe and move forward in the direction that you want to move in? And so that's why I'm sharing this with you today. That's why this is important, because when you can make aligned decisions, you're no longer in that decision fatigue. You're no longer overexerting your energy in areas that were never meant for you anyways. Okay. Hopefully you are ready to dive in. So, I'm so excited for this topic. I really haven't I haven't dug into human design here very much, and just kind of to celebrate myself because I just finished my human design certification, I want to do a fun little giveaway to celebrate myself for doing that. And that's one of the things I actually teach my clients is the more you celebrate yourself, and of course there's that fine line between being humble and bragging, but we've been taught that we're not supposed to celebrate ourselves. So today I'm going to celebrate and I'm going to share my excitement with you. So what I'm going to be doing is a fun little giveaway, and the winner of the giveaway will win a 3-session deep dive into your unique visibility strategy, business energetics, and your human design type. So how you're going to enter this is leave a 5-star rating and review on the podcast, telling others how this podcast has helped you and why they should tune in and listen to it. Okay, so again, real quick, entering the giveaway, all you have to do, 5-star review, make sure you tell everyone why you listen to this podcast, how it's helped you, and why they should tune in. And then after you do that, do a little screenshot of it and email it to me, mindsetwithmary@gmail.com. And the reason I have you email it to me is because there's certain countries that it doesn't show me the review. And then also there's been a lot of people who've left reviews, but it just shows me their username, which could literally be Cheap Trick 84. And I have no idea who you are. So I want to be able to be hey, you get a win and get entered into the drawing So if you're going to leave a review and you want to be entered, make sure you share it with me. Okay, let's dive in a little bit deeper. Okay, so the very first thing I want to talk about, and just so you kind of have an overview of where we're going with this, we're going to talk about the mindset, the energetics, and then we'll also dive into human design. Because when it comes to human design, based on your specific energy type, strategy, and authority, you're going to have a very unique way of how you're going to be making decisions. So I can teach you mindset, I can teach you energetics, but I don't know what your soul wants until I see your human design chart. And it's important to learn that so that you can, because here's the thing, like, you don't need your human design chart. It's just that once you see it, you get the validation that, okay, like, and for example, myself, and I'm an emotional authority, which means decisions need to go through that process of, I don't make decisions at a very high energetic excitement state or a very low energetic excitement state. In knowing that, it validates me, and I can look back at past experiences and go, oh my gosh, every time I've made a decision when I've been super excited or like down in the dumps, and the next day wondered why I had no energy to move forward with the action on that, it's simply because I didn't follow my authority. So there are very specific things, and we'll dive in a little bit more to that. Okay, so if you feel like you're overthinking a lot and you have that decision fatigue, the very first thing that always helps my clients, and something that I teach them, number one, is building their self-trust, allowing them to understand that it's okay for them to make mistakes. It's okay for them to make the wrong decisions. And here's the thing, wrong decisions are never actually wrong. They're just there to help guide you into the right direction. Like, when you can see, like, oh, okay, I dated this guy, that didn't work out for me. That actually tells me, because he didn't do X, Y, and Z, that tells me actually what I am looking for, so that I can go back to the clarity piece of the manifestation process and get more specific on what I'm actually looking for, and then realign and adjust and set my intentions for that. So if you're feeling that and you think it's that self-trust, I highly recommend building that. And this is like a 3-step process where I help my clients shift their mindset, build their emotional resilience, and truly just learn how to tune in and trust themselves. This is what I think a lot of people go wrong with, is because they don't understand that it actually takes practice. Like, you actually need to practice building your self-trust. It's not something that just like comes naturally. Um, and the reason why is because we've really been taught by society not to trust ourselves. We've been taught by society to follow the rules, listen to what other people say, even if it goes against what feels right for us. And so just really learning that it's okay to make mistakes, and that honestly your best decisions come from your mistakes, because you can see from past experiences. And to give you like a good example, like, okay, if I put my hand under the hot water and it burns my hand and I pull back because it's hot, next time my brain's going to remember that, so I don't go do it again. Right? Same thing here. Our mistakes are actually there to help guide us. And when we tune into them and we go, okay, I'm so grateful for that mistake, because now I'm not going to put my hand under the hot water again. The second I turn on the hot water, I'm also going to turn on a little bit of cold, and I'm going to make sure it's like turned right to this angle before I put my hand in there. I've actually done that before a lot with my bathtub, because my bathtub gets so freaking hot and it burns like crazy. Okay, another way to really think about this is when you're driving a car, you get in and you typically know where you're going. And maybe wherever it is that you're going, there's like 3 different directions. The first way is through Main Street, and you know that it's 5 p.m. and 5 p.m. is going to be busy as heck, and you're probably going to get stuck in traffic. The second way has construction. And you might get stuck behind, I don't know, a closed road, or have to turn around and go a different way. The third way is the back roads, and you decide to take that way because it's going to be more relaxing and it's more aligned. And it's just going to really be a much more positive experience. And so, trusting this process of making decisions and tuning into what you know and building your self trust on that. But of course, we do that from practice. We do it from accidentally going down Main Street at 5 p.m. and saying, what was I thinking? Or, getting stuck in construction over and over and over again. And if you live in Southern Utah, where I live in Cedar City, there's always construction in the summer, especially around the college, which I work at the college. And like, I will drive the same way every single day and get stuck in construction over and over again. But if I beat myself up and get frustrated and mad that I keep making that mistake, it's actually going to be harder for me to remember to go the other way. And so giving yourself compassion that it's okay to make mistakes, and then just keep practicing. And sooner or later, you're going to remember what is more aligned for you and trusting the decision. So, okay, that's what I have for you. That's the very first thing. And if you're like wanting to build your self-trust, I actually offer, and I changed the name recently because it just feels so aligned. It's called the Total Mindset Makeover. It's a one session call that if you're wanting to build your self-trust, build your confidence, inside that call, I can absolutely help you go through the process that I take my clients through and really help give you that boost of motivation so that by the end of it, you're feeling more confident. You're feeling like, okay, now I'm more in tune to what I need to do, and actually being able to take action and feeling motivated to do that afterwards. So I will leave the link in the show notes if you are curious to build more self-trust and confidence. All right, so the second thing I really want to talk about is emotional regulation. This is the energetic piece of it. And what I mean by this is, one, making sure you're not like making very emotionally out of alignment decisions, right? Like, if I do this thing, I'm going to be frustrated, or I'm actually frustrated right now. And if I make the decision, it might not be aligned, especially like when we get into the human design piece. If you are an emotional authority, like, you want to be making neutral decisions from that place of like not too high and not too low. And if it remains still a yes, and we'll dive into that in a minute, but you make the decision because it's still a yes when your emotions are neutral. Okay. And then the second piece to this is following the shoulds, the guilt, and maybe like tuning into how you made decisions to make maybe family member happy, or how you kind of were trained to people please growing up. I see this a lot in my clients, and the one thing that I love teaching my clients is how to regulate their emotions, and tuning in so that they are making decisions and it feels aligned and actually like protects them from coming back and regretting it later. And here's the thing about our emotions is that our thoughts are literally like the driving force of the emotions that we feel. Unless it's an aligned decision thing and the universe is like, nope, actually this is out of alignment, then that will also trigger emotions for you. But typically, if we actually do want something and it is in alignment, and the thought is, I don't want to do this, or this is stupid, I don't want to do this work. Basically, like, if I do this, I'm afraid of what people are going to think. Those thoughts are going to trigger a chemical response in the body. You're going to feel it as an emotion. That emotion is just energy in motion, vibrating at a specific frequency. And that is going to trigger you to either take action towards your goals in alignment, or it's going to hold you back from taking that action. And this is really where a lot of people go wrong, is they're not tuning into their emotions, regulating them first, and then being able to make their decisions. Because a lot of time we're just listening to what we think we should do. We're tuning into how society says the rules are and what we need to follow. Or like we have this inner child who's trying to protect us and make sure we're people pleasing the right people. And then you take that pattern and use it in your career, your business, with your relationship with your spouse. And a lot of times that really is not going to get us the results that we want. And we'll find ourselves later down the road going, oops, that wasn't the right decision. Again, kind of another analogy with the car. Um, think of this as like missing a turn because you're not in a good mood, or maybe your emotional things haven't been going the right way for you. Just kind of in that just like high or low state emotions, and you're driving and you meant to turn but you didn't because you're like in a whole nother arena. That's kind of like this, like when your emotions are not in sync and in alignment, or I guess I would say in alignment with your intentions, you might miss those universal messages from your spirit guides, things that are going to help you tune in and make a decision quicker. A lot of times when it comes to making decisions, especially if you're asking for signs from the universe, if you're not like meditating or regulating your emotions, you're not going to see those signs coming in. Your brain will literally block you, because you're essentially, you either get stuck in fight, flight, or freeze, and you're probably like thinking very narrowly and only focusing on whatever is in front of you at the time being. And so it's hard to see the signs. It's hard to say like, okay, universe, show me 888 if I'm meant to make this decision. And you're driving down the road and there's a sign that literally says 888, but your kids are screaming in the back and you're just like, screw you guys, and blah, blah, blah. And you miss the sign. So that's just one area where maybe when you learn how to regulate your emotions, when you're learning how to tune in, you're able then to see the signs and make the decisions from a much more aligned place. Okay, let's now dive into human design. I love human design. It has become my like new favorite passion. Basically, it's like this life playbook. It's the missing piece to making aligned and empowered decisions. Okay, human design. Wow. It's such a great tool that mixes astrology, chakras, I Ching, basically a bunch of things. I like to call it astrology on steroids, simply because it's a great decision making tool, and really helps validate, like I mentioned earlier, it helps validate you in the way that you have maybe in the past recognized things that have gone in alignment or things that haven't gone in alignment, and then helps you tune in more easily and be like, okay, just because I have a non-self theme of frustration, I don't need to judge myself for it. I just use that frustration as a tool to tune in and go, okay, just because I feel frustrated, or maybe your non-self theme is bitterness, like just because I feel bitter about this person doesn't mean doesn't mean that there's something wrong with me. What it actually means is I just need to tune in for a minute, see what's off, adjust that, and then make the decision. Okay, so it really helps you. Like another thing that I've noticed is it just helps you like be okay making mistakes and really starting to see like wasted time as profitable time, actually. And yes, I do mean profitable. There are a lot of people with specific things in their human design chart. And they're literally like meant to make mistakes. They're literally meant to like struggle simply because of how their human design chart is. And from that struggle, they're then able to teach other people a better way or a more efficient way of doing things because they've gone through it. And people will be attracted to that, and very, like, it's very magnetic because they see you've gone through it. They see you've lived through it. And think about this. Who do you want to purchase a coaching package from? I'm just using that as the example here. Do you want to purchase it from somebody who's gone through the lived experience and has figured out the steps? Or do you want to buy a coaching package from somebody who just comes out with the textbook, right? Oh, I have a certification and now I'm the person with all of this knowledge in my brain, but I've never actually experienced it. And not to say, like, if you haven't experienced it, that's not a bad thing. It's just like me getting my certification. I'm going to have to become more proficient in it the more and more I coach on it. But essentially, there are so many people within their chart, they're meant to struggle, and because of that, they share the gift of helping others learn how to do it more efficiently. Okay, so another, like, deep dive into this is just understanding that depending on your human design energy type, your specific strategy, your authority, and your emotional themes, you basically have a playbook of how to make the most aligned decisions, and is literally the missing piece. So let's deep dive into this. I'm going to give you a couple examples from my own experience and how I made a decision that didn't fit in alignment with me, and how you can learn from my own mistakes. So I created a program this summer to help you live more of a badass life. The intention was that I'm just going to show you the process of manifestation and really, like, learn how to stop burning out, stop putting yourself on the back burner. Brilliant, right? Like, it was wonderful. And while in a high state of emotions, it felt aligned. However, about a week later, that excitement dipped, and I thought it was a mindset issue. So I kept working with my mindset coach to fix that. And what I found is that the more I tried to change the thought that I actually wanted to do it, the more forced it felt and the less energy I had to show up. In fact, there was a pretty big chunk of the summer where I was like, I don't want to coach anymore. Like, if this is what it is, I don't want to do this. But I kept reminding myself, like, there's my purpose, my why, and my reason, which is literally, like, I'm meant to help people. And that is what lights up my soul. And thank goodness for that, because that helped me stay the course. But the piece that I was missing here is that I hadn't run it through my own unique strategy and my own authority. And because of that, I kept trying to force it. And the reason why, like, it wasn't budging for me is because I literally ignored the fact that the cognitive dissonance wasn't cognitive dissonance from mindset. It was cognitive dissonance from the universe saying, Mary, this is not for you. And because I ignored that, I kept pushing it. And because I kept pushing it, I got burnt out and didn't want to coach anymore. So I'm going to kind of go through a couple different things here, and how, now that I fully grasp how human design can help me process my own decision making, and just share with you the steps now that I'm taking so that you can see, like, why it's essential. So first of all, I'm a manifesting generator. If you don't know the types, there's a manifestor, manifesting generator, generator, projector, and a reflector. The manifesting generator and generators, they have much more energy than the manifestor, the projector, and the reflector. They are high energy beings. And a lot of times with the Mani-Gen, they are a multi-passionate person, where the generator, they have a lot of energy, but they are mastery of one thing, where a Mani-Gen is a mastery of many things. If you guys haven't noticed, if you haven't listened to my podcast for like the last, since 2022, I'm all over the place. It's meant to evolve. So any program I create, it needs to be created from the knowing that it will evolve, that there is going to be work within that program that is going to grow. That if I start a wealth expansion portal, my current membership right now, knowing that if I start it with the idea of helping people regulate their nervous system around money and all of those things, it's also going to evolve into whatever it is I'm learning down the road. Now, human design and astrology, and there's this should, right? Of like, oh no, I should just follow this one track mindset manifestation and stay in that lane because that's what people want me to do. But the thing is that the universe already has a pile of people that I'm meant to work for, and those people are going to be able to make more aligned decisions and working with me when I'm in alignment with myself. So if I'm in this thought process, oh, I've got to create this program to help you live a badass life, and it has to be structured around mindset and manifestation, and it has to stay that way, my people aren't going to find me. And if they do find me, it's, I don't know how, luck, I guess. So that's the first part, is that I'm a manifesting generator and I have to create programs that are meant to evolve. The second piece of this is that my strategy is to respond. So as a manifesting generator, I'm going to respond to whatever lights up my sacral. If you're unfamiliar with your chakras, your sacral is kind of like in your womb area, kind of like that gut response, close to like an intuitive gut knowing, but a little bit different. It's much more of like this desire. And when I talk about like my emotional themes, it'll make more sense because it's much more about satisfaction, which is the energy center for, so this is, the sacral is the energy center for desires. And when I tune into that and I'm listening to what lights up my sacral and I respond to, okay, I have these options, which one is going to make more sense for me? And this one, I just feel like, I feel it coming up, like this excitement and joy. It's important to tune into that. Now, the third thing here is like, when I made this decision, I didn't run it through my authority, which if you are a generator or a manifesting generator, it's very possible that you might be like me and have an emotional authority, which is your solar plexus chakra. And what this means is I'm not meant to make decisions from high emotional states or low emotional states. If I get this sacral yes, and I'm like, yes, I want to do this, I typically have to go on a walk, meditate. Sometimes it could take up to 3 days to really tune in and get the clarity and make sure that my emotions are on this like neutral state before I make the decision. Now, I know a lot of people who are just like pure sacral authority, and that's like a hell yes or a hell no, and it's a lot different. But if you're an emotional authority, it's important to make sure it's a yes, not just in the high and the low, but also in the middle. So, okay. And then the last piece that is so important is that our feelings really tell us so much about ourselves. Like, we can make the best decisions when we understand how we feel when we're not in alignment. And a lot of times we don't even know. Like, we're just feeling guilty because we feel a certain way, and then we try to push those emotions under the rug instead of tuning into them. So our human design will tell us what our self and non-self themes are. For me, as a Mani Gen, it's frustration and satisfaction. And this kind of tunes into that sacred response, like I mentioned earlier. Once you understand this, you understand that that not self theme is not something you have to feel bad about. It's actually guiding you. So for me, with frustration, I used to get frustrated that I was frustrated, and then I would be frustrated that I was frustrated. It was like this ever like going chain of frustration. Also, as a man-agent, I can feel a lot of anger too, that frustration and anger. And all that means for me is like tuning in, and it could literally just be a quick mindset shift. Like I could be thinking about it differently than what's in alignment. I could be stuck in a thought pattern that I've had from childhood of how I was expected to think about this certain situation, right? Like I shouldn't talk about this kind of stuff on the internet. It could just be something simple like that, and I just need to rewire that. Or it might not light up my soul. And here's the thing, like your soul and your heart, they know the direction to success for you. Every single person has their own unique direction and soul aligned like steps to success. Success is not like you weren't born without the capability of having success. The only thing stopping you is you believing that you're not capable of it and not staying in alignment with what you're meant to do specifically. You already are created for success. The universe, your heart, your soul knows the steps to get you there. And for me, it's really tuning into that satisfaction. And when things light me up, even if they don't make sense logically, I have to follow that. And that leads me into a space that makes sense later down the road. So you just have to build that trust muscle that the universe is always guiding you, that your soul is always going to guide you. So when it lights you up, and there's different strategies based on your, again, there's your energy, there's your authority, your strategy, and then you're going to have like different self themes. And we're actually also going to talk about profiles here, because this kind of goes into those of you who are meant to struggle simply because it's within your it's basically within like how you were created, and why you're meant to struggle is for a much bigger reason than maybe what you can comprehend or understand logically. Okay, so if you happen to have a line 3 or a line 6 in your human design, and then there's also different gates, but we're not going to dive into that today. We'll go into that another time. I have a lot of clients who have the struggle gate. Oh, I like to call it the struggle bus gate, which basically also is like you're meant to go through hard things so that you can help other people, and that's not always fun to hear. In fact, I have a client who has struggled a big thing, and finding your purpose in that can be really challenging. Anyways, let's go back to line 3 and 6. So line 3 is the experimenter. You love to be curious and have that like trial error thing. Like if you have this, like, and I don't have this, so it's similar because I do have the 6, but you're meant to make mistakes like over and over and over again. The problem that most people are going to have is that they're judging themselves for making mistakes versus just like tuning in and saying, okay, the more mistakes I make and the more that I'm able to correct and align my mistakes into helping me make more aligned decisions, those things are actually going to create success for me. When you see it from that mindset, things change. Again, this is why I love human design, because once you see like, oh, I have a line 3, That's why I'm like constantly like trial and error, trial and error. If you're like a coach, or maybe you're a therapist, or some sort of like healing type healer, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. You might find yourself wanting to do like a beta group. In fact, I had a client today who's actually a 3-6 who is starting a nutrition program, and she's doing a beta test run. And that's like the most important thing, is to stay in alignment with testing things out. Like, that's going to help you know if it's in alignment or not. Like, you try these things out, and if it doesn't work, you adjust and realign. And then if you have the line 6, this is the role model. This is a lot about making mistakes, um, and experimenting, struggling, building your discernment through time, integration, and then really building embodied wisdom. This kind of goes in a three phases through life. Like, your early years, you're going to be making a lot of mistakes. Same thing, kind of like the line 3, you're experimenting, trying things out, you're going to struggle, you're going to want to make mistakes, and you're going to want to choose the path. I don't know if you guys have ever watched How I Met Your Mother, when Lily decides she wants to go to California for art school. She tells Ted, like, I know, she says something like, you know when you're going to make a decision, and you know it's probably not the right decision, but you need to make it to make sure that it's not. You might have that energy very often. And the more you judge yourself for like wanting to try things, the harder it's going to be to like get back into alignment, or see the wisdom that you can teach from it. And then the second phase of life is much more of like the integration and discernment. You're seeing things differently. You're trying to pick different things that are meant for you and not meant for you, and then choosing like the right pathway for you. And then that last phase of life is really going to be like standing into your role model, like standing into the embodied role model energy and sharing wisdom, and people are just going to be magnetic to wanting to learn from you. So that can be really frustrating, because you might not be in that yet. You might be in the phase of discernment and integration, and that's where I feel like I am right now. And I can easily tell myself with the line 6 that I want to be in the embodied role model, and I can definitely like try to pretend that I'm there. But if I'm not, the best thing I can do is accept where I am and be okay with that integration and discernment, and trust that there's going to be people that are in phases before I am, and they want to know more about like how they get to a space of discernment, how they stop worrying about what other people think, right? They're in their careers, and they're worried that, kind of similar to me, like they want to start talking more about spirituality and other things like that, but they're afraid the people they work with are going to judge them, and they need help learning how to stop caring what other people think and still be a good human at the same time. So, okay, that's what I have for you today. Like, we could totally deep dive into this a little bit more, and I will tell you this, stay tuned, because I want to share all of the things and much more. But that's what I have for you. And if you're curious about how to make more aligned decisions in life, business, relationships, and all of the things, I offer a human design soul aligned strategy session, which will dive into your unique chart and strategy and really help you learn how to stop tuning into society and making out of aligned decisions. So if you feel called to that, book that call. I'm going to leave the link in the show notes. Also, just a quick reminder before I head out, leave a 5-star rating to get entered into the drawing, which I probably need to give you a date. What the heck? What is that date going to be? Let me tell you. I'll do giveaways on, I didn't even decide before I started this. So sounds like me. We'll do like the 20th. So get them in before the 18th, and I'll announce the winners on the 20th. So leave a 5-star rating, review, tell everyone why you love the podcast, how it's helped you, and why they should tune in and listen to it as well. And then make sure you screenshot it and email it to me, Mary Jo, or mindsetwithmary@gmail.com. Okay, I love you with my whole heart and soul. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Goodbye.